Hello, Crowne here, your mortgage consultant for life. Today I'm talking about the 6 things that you need to know about mortgages and interest rates during the COVID crisis. There's a lot of misinformation out there, so please settle in and get ready for some straight talk about the world we're living in right now. Point number 1, the Federal Reserve did not cut mortgage rates to zero. Yes, they did cut a rate to zero. That's the federal funds rate, or also known as the discount rate. And that's the rate that member banks charge one another for overnight loans. But the federal funds rate has absolutely nothing to do with mortgage rates. So no, mortgage rates aren't zero right now. And just so you know, here's why the Fed made this critically needed move. They did it to ensure that banks had access to money during a time when depositors, that's you, me, businesses large and small, government entities, literally everyone who needs cash, and they're all scrambling for money. Keeping our banking system functioning is critical to all of us weathering this crisis, and liquidity is at the center of it all. Point number 2, investors hate uncertainty. Truth be told, we all do, but money ups the ante, and investors, especially those with hundreds of millions, even billions in the market, and many of those investors having borrowed money on margin, well, they're really panicking. They are selling assets left and right, scrambling for the safety and certainty of cash in these uncertain times. We are all familiar with the law of supply and demand, and it's really revealing how true it is right now. Sellers are dumping their investments, and the oversupply is reducing what buyers are willing to pay for stocks and for bonds. Unfortunately, some sellers are having to sell some of their safest investments, the mortgage-backed securities in their portfolios, just to cover their margin calls. And that's dumping a huge supply in the market, lowering the value of these bonds right at the time when we're in the middle of a refinance boom. That refinance boom is also bringing an enormous amount of additional bonds to the market, and there just aren't very many buyers right now. So the prices that these investments are fetching are really, really low. Point number 3, from March 10th to March 20th, mortgage rates have skyrocketed. And as mortgage-backed securities have tumbled, mortgage rates, which move in the opposite direction, have risen faster than I have ever seen in my career, up by more than 2% in less than 2 weeks. All of the normal relationships between the 10-year Treasury note or stock market behavior have fallen by the wayside. The truth is that lenders simply have no idea where rates are headed today, tomorrow, or any time in the near future, because there is so much uncertainty driving the market. Point number 4, the Federal Reserve actually is doing something to help ease mortgage rates. The Fed has another tool at their disposal, and they've decided to jump in with both feet to help shore up the market for mortgage-backed securities. They are doing that by going to the vault and using that special capability they have to access money, to print money, and using that to purchase massive quantities of these bonds on the open market. Remember that old law of supply and demand? Well, those purchases will help soak up the oversupply in the marketplace and stabilize values. Rates are already coming down because of the Fed's market actions. Point number 5, patience is the word of the day. All of this, the COVID crisis, the economic turmoil, the fractured mortgage marketplace, will resolve with time. There are some sectors of the economy and some businesses and jobs that will suffer a lot, and I grieve for them, I really do. But most of us will be okay. If you are buying or selling real estate during this time, a little patience and a little understanding will go a long, long way in reducing the anxiety that you are no doubt experiencing. Point number 6, don't mourn what you didn't get. Yes, rates were astonishingly low, up until March 9th or 10th. And if you are like me, and I bet you are, you hate missing out on a bargain. The reality is that mortgage rates are still really, really low, even if they have moved higher since their all-time lows. An industry insider spoke recently and said to me, "Tell your clients not to be greedy." That seems harsh to me, so I'll just offer that lenders are not trying to gouge anyone, and that the rates that are available now are still fair and reasonable. So, what does all of this mean to you? Well, first, investing in real estate, whether it's your home or an investment property, still makes sense. This isn't like 2008 when real estate values plummeted and we had more than a decade-long ride back to where we once were. This is simply a momentary blip as we and the rest of the world grapple with a real public health emergency. Second, I want to share a little anecdote with you. I've been walking past this story that's been in our lunchroom for the last 17 years, and every time I take notice of it, I shake my head and think to myself, well, that's a stupid story. When I looked at it this morning, though, I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe not so much. Here's how that story goes. There was a man who sold hot dogs by the side of the road. He was hard of hearing, so he had no radio. He had trouble with his eyes, so he didn't read the newspaper. But he made great hot dogs. He put up a sign to advertise his delicious hot dogs, and people began buying more and more of them. He got so busy, he had to buy a bigger stove and buy more hot dogs and buns. He even asked his son to come home from college to help him with the hot dog stand. Then one day his son said to him, "Dad, haven't you been listening to the radio or reading the newspapers? There's a big depression going on. The international situation is terrible, and here at home it's even worse." The man thought to himself, well, my son has been to college and he listens to the radio and reads the news, so he must know. So he took down his sign and he cut down his bun and hot dog orders, and he stopped standing by the side of the road, and soon enough, his hot dog sales dwindled away to nothing. He said, "You were right. We certainly are in the middle of a Great Depression." I'm sharing this story because if each of us responds to these events by panicking, then all of us will suffer. The truth is that us needs you. That's not Uncle Sam or the United States. That's all of us. And acting responsibly means resisting the urges to act selfishly and instead think of the larger benefits to all of us. We can and we will survive this crisis when we are united by our shared interests. So please, stay healthy, stay positive, and keep living your life as fully as you can. Well, that's it for this special message. Thanks for watching, and remember always that I am here every day to help solve the problems that living life on life's terms sends your way. Keep my number close by so that you can reach me anytime you need my help, or anytime someone you care about needs someone who will care about them as much as I care about you.